Hey everyone, welcome back to intern called JavaScript Bootcamp. This is day 8 of JavaScript Bootcamp. We have already completed module 6 and today we'll get started with module 7. So before getting started, I would request you one thing. If you have been following all the videos until now, I suggest you to please save the videos or like the video so that we can get more reach to the video and more people can view it and more people can use them make use of this opportunity. Okay, that's totally up to you, no issues. As of now, today we are going to discuss about this concept of asynchronous JavaScript, that is module 7. Yes, until module 6, I hope everyone is clear. We have completed basics of JavaScript. Now we are getting into intermediate stuff. Intermediate stuff, I know it is a bit complicated thing from now. It may be confusing, but let's try to take a simple example without going much into practical. First of all, for you, for the beginners, understand the theoretical concept of it, how things are working, what are these functions, how to use these callback functions inside set time interval and set timeout. What is this asynchronous JavaScript particularly, and when this is used, that we'll discuss today. If we start discussing all the 5 or 6 in practicals, then it will take a 2 hour long session, 2 to 3 hour long session. So to avoid that, what we'll do, we'll understand how things are working, and I'll provide you with the source code and go to any console panel in your Chrome browser and practice by yourself. That will help you because we'll discuss this. We'll definitely discuss end-to-end thing, what is to be used and how it is to be used, and these the same concept we'll be using in project building of day 10 of JavaScript Bootcamp. On day 8, we'll try to complete this asynchronous JavaScript. Day 9, we'll see DOM manipulation, and day 10, we'll discuss the projects. Clear? This day 8 and 9, the practical will be a little less because we are getting into intermediate JavaScript. If we get into writing codes, it will be lengthy codes and you'll get confused. That's why we'll get into theoretical concept first. We'll understand how things are working, and while doing projects, we'll apply the concepts which we have learned until now. Then you'll get clear understanding of it. I hope it is clear, everyone. So today let's get started with module 7. Module 7 is asynchronous JavaScript. What is asynchronous JavaScript and what are the concepts which we'll discuss today are set timeout, set interval, promises, async and await using promises, event handlers, that is add event listener, remove event listener, on click, on mouse, hover. All of those we'll discuss in event listeners. Fetch API to fetch the data and then perform certain operations that we'll discuss today. Okay. Shall we get started with this asynchronous JavaScript? Ready, everyone? Take out your notebook. Note all of these down, whatever I write in here, or at least follow the things up. Clear? So before getting into set timeout, let's understand what this asynchronous JavaScript is actually about. Let me open my notepad. Give me a minute. Yes, everyone. Asynchronous JavaScript, also known as async.js. Okay. It enables multitasking and scheduled processing. What do we mean by this is, for example, you want to run some code, but you want to run that code after, let's say, 5 seconds or after 10 minutes or something like that, or based on some condition. That is, you want to schedule your process, you want to schedule your code. For that, you can use async JavaScript set time interval property. Set time interval, don't worry, we'll discuss about this individually. Set timeout, set time interval, and all those. First of all, as of now, just understand that asynchronous JavaScript enables multitasking and schedule processing. Multiple things run at once. Multiple things run at once, and we return the output of one which is completed. What is this? Let's understand with an example. In the first session, we took an example of multitasking. For example, there is a person. There is a person who has to perform 3 tasks. Who has to perform 3 tasks. What are those 3 tasks? First one, let's suppose he has to fill the bucket of water. He has to fill the bucket of water. Okay. Here, first task. Second task is turn on the light of room. Okay. The third task is example. I'm just taking simplified example to make you understand what is multiprocessing, what is synchronous and asynchronous. Okay. The third task is to make tea. I know these are very bad examples to take. Again, just understand. Just hold on with me. There are three tasks a man or a guy must perform. The first task is to fill the bucket of water. The second task is to turn on the light of the room. The third task is making tea. Okay. What if he does this synchronously? In synchronously, nothing but in sync. That is one by one execution. What first he does is he'll fill the bucket. He'll fill the bucket first. Then he'll turn on the light of the room. He just follows whatever the order which we are giving in synchronous. He turns the light of room, and the third task he'll do is he'll make tea. Okay. For filling the bucket of water, for suppose this is the tap. Okay. So suppose this is the tap. He has to fill the bucket of water. Let's suppose it takes 30 seconds of time to fill the bucket of water. I'll draw it neatly here, just a minute. These are the three tasks which he has to perform, right? So suppose this is some tap. Okay. Tap water is coming. He has to fill the bucket. First task. It takes around 30 seconds to do. The second operation is to turn on the button of tube light. Okay. This takes 2 seconds of time. Next task of him was to make tea. Making tea, how can I show? Okay, I'll just draw a bowl. I'll add some flame in here. This is nothing but gas stove. Okay. Just do not focus on the drawing. The first task was to fill the bucket of water. The second task was to turn on the light. The third task was to make tea. For making tea, let's suppose it takes 2 minutes of time. Okay. So if he does this synchronously, 1, 2, 3 in certain order, what is the total time taken by him? This is 30 seconds. Let's suppose this is 5 seconds. This is 2 minutes or 120 seconds. So the total will be 120 seconds plus 30 plus 5. So it will be 155 seconds if he performs all the tasks synchronously. Whatever the order is, if he perform this task first, only after completing this task he will move on to second task. Only after completing this task he'll move on to the third task. Any order it may be. What do I mean by this? The synchronous order is nothing but following certain order. Until and unless you complete one task, you cannot jump onto the next task. Until and unless you complete one task, you cannot jump onto the next task. Nothing but this is synchronous JavaScript, following certain order. Clear? Now the same thing. Same example. Let's discuss in asynchronous fashion. Nothing but doing things randomly. What do I mean by this? There are three tasks to perform, right? There are three tasks to perform. One is make tea. I'm just writing in a random order. No issues. You can follow the same order. Turn light on. Turn the light on. And the third thing is, what was the third thing? I don't remember. Okay, filling the bucket, right? Filling the bucket. Filling the bucket. Let's understand this in async order. Async order, nothing but you can, even if the task is not completed, you can jump onto the next task. We'll discuss this, no issues. Let's draw the diagram and discuss. Okay. So in asynchronous fashion, we can play with things around. We can play with multiple things around at once. There is no certain order which you have to follow. Even without completing the first task, you can jump on the second task. Let's understand this. Okay, let's understand this. The same person, what he did is he went to the kitchen. He turned on the flame, added milk, added tea powder, added sugar. Okay. The process of making tea has started. The process of making tea has started. It is not completed. It is not completed. Listen, it is not completed. The process has started. And then when the tea is cooking or it is boiling, at that point of time, he went to another room. The person went to another room and then turned on the light. It took 5 seconds for him to, let's say it took 5 seconds for him to do the same thing. Once he completed this process, next he went to the tap and filled the bucket. He went to the wash basin or wherever the tap is, and he filled the bucket. This process took around 30 seconds again. So he first started this process. Let's suppose it took around 10 seconds to do. Okay. After the completion of this 10 seconds, he went to do this 5-second task. This is not completed. It takes 120 seconds to make the tea, as we have discussed above. It takes 120 seconds to make the tea. But before completing itself, he just turned on the gas stove, added all the stuff, and when it is doing automatically, then he went on to complete other two tasks. Other two tasks got completed in 35 seconds. So by the time he completed this and returned, it is now totally 45 seconds. 45 seconds nothing but this 35 seconds plus 10 seconds. So 45 seconds of tea is already cooked. Now we need to wait more 75 seconds, right? We need to more 75 more seconds, so that at 120 seconds our tea will be ready. What do I mean by this is, instead of following certain order, first of all we took one major task, or not major task, we have started one task, and then while this task was in process, we went on to do second task, completed the second task, we went on to do third task, completed the third task, and came back to first task. And this process is still in the process, it is still working. What happens by this is, we did not had to wait 2 minutes here, we have just added the tea powder and everything, and we have completed all of this in 35 seconds and came back. So by the time we came back, it was 45 seconds, 10 seconds initial and 45 seconds. Now if we wait for 75 more seconds, automatically in 2 minutes our tea will also be ready. So what do I mean by this? Instead of following the synchronous order, we can do asynchronously. You can start one process, complete it, and go to other process and return back. What happens is, until this process is completed, you'll complete the other two processes in the same time. So what will the total time of completing all the three tasks? The maximum of total time. The maximum of time. Nothing but, if it is 2 minutes, if it is 30 seconds, if it is 5 seconds, the maximum time is 2 minutes. Within 2 minutes, all the tasks are completed. Within 2 minutes, all the tasks are completed. This is the advantage of asynchronous JavaScript. Not JavaScript, in simple, asynchronous. I hope you have got the understanding of async and sync. Sync is synchronous, nothing but following certain order. Once, until and unless you complete one process, you cannot jump onto another process. But asynchronous JavaScript allows you to do multiple things at once. Not asynchronous JavaScript again. Asynchronous allows you to do multiple things at once. In the same way, usually JavaScript is synchronously written language only. It is synchronously written language only. But how do we use this JavaScript as async? That's a whole new discussion of the topic. You can search online how JavaScript is async. You can search online, because there will be the use of some stack and pushing and pulling the process in it. It is the concept of operating systems and heaps, stacks, etc. It will be confusing for you if we discuss now. As of now, as we are focusing on async JavaScript, just understand that async JavaScript has certain properties or operations, which are certain, what we will call methods, by using which we can write our code as async. What are those? One is set timeout. Second one is set time interval. Third one is promises. Fourth one is async await, using these keywords of async await. Fifth one is using fetch. Sixth one is event listeners. Yes, event listeners will comment down, but okay, we'll discuss the basics of it until now. There are more, but most frequently we use this, so we'll discuss only these concepts in async JavaScript. I hope it is clear, everyone. I hope you have got the understanding of what is async process and what is sync process, synchronous process and asynchronous process. I hope it is clear. Now, by using these, how can we make the code of async? We'll discuss. Okay. First of all, one more small discussion. For example, you have console.log hello. you have console.log hello, and then in first line, in second line you have again console.log hey. Next, you have certain async code written here of, let's say, set timeout. Set timeout has always two or two mandatory parameters and more than three parameters are optional. Two mandatory parameters are, first one is function. Function can be arrow function, anonymous function, or any other function. Inside this function, let's write as console.log I am async. Whatever you write here, that will get printed, no issue. Or I'll just write I am async. I am async. After this function, we have to always give some delay. 1000 nothing but 1000 milliseconds. 1000 milliseconds is equal to 1 second. This is equal to 1 second. Okay. What does this mean? It will get printed after 1 second. So we will discuss this. No issues. Okay. This is asynchronous code. Again, after asynchronous code, I'll write synchronous code again. Console.log hi. Okay. What happens here? What happens here? See, this is synchronous code. This is synchronous code. Whereas this set timeout is asynchronous code because we have used async property, one of the async property, that is set timeout. Okay. What will be the output of this, everyone? What will be the output of this? First of all, sync code will get executed. First of all, sync code will get executed. Hello, hi, sorry, hello, hey, hi. After this, after 1 second of execution, after 1 second of execution, this function call will happen. This function call has to print I am async. So after 1 second of delay, it will print I am async. I hope you are able to follow how to write asynchronous code in JavaScript. Is nothing but follow this order. Use this type of concepts in asynchronous JavaScript. Okay. Do not worry, we'll understand this with the help of examples. As of now, just focus. Set timeout is type of one concept in asynchronous JavaScript which allows you to write code after certain delay. How much delay? 1000 milliseconds delay, 10,000 milliseconds delay, 5000 milliseconds delay, that depends on your value which you give. 1000 milliseconds is nothing but equal to 1 second. This function is known as callback function. Whatever logic you write here will get executed after this amount second of delay. I hope it is clear. Let's understand this in the slides one by one. So here let's discuss about set timeout first. What is this set timeout actually? The set timeout method calls a function after certain number of milliseconds. Milliseconds nothing but 1000 milliseconds is equal to 1 second. What if I write 5000 milliseconds? Then it will be 5 seconds. If 10,000 milliseconds is written, it will be 10 seconds. Clear? Is executed only once. For example, in the previous example, hello, hey, hi, I am async was printed, but it was printed only once because set timeout will print whatever is written inside that. It will get executed or printed only once. If you want to do it iteratively, after certain amount of 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, or 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, or 1 second, 1 second delay each, then you have to use the concept of set interval that we'll discuss in the coming slides. No issues. As of now, just focus that set timeout method calls a function. It calls a function after a certain number of milliseconds. Clear? Forget about this clear timeout. Clear timeout is another concept to clear the things of the point. You see this. Use the clear timeout method to prevent the function from starting. If you do not want the function to start from starting, you have to use clear timeout. But most probably we won't use this. As of now, just focus on set timeout. What the set timeout actually is. As we have seen in the previous syntax as well, set timeout is an asynchronous JavaScript concept which takes the input as two parameters. First one is function, the second one is milliseconds. Function is nothing but it can be callback function, arrow function, anonymous function, or anything. All the block of code which has to be written inside it will be written inside that function. And that milliseconds nothing but is the delay. How much amount of delay you want to take before calling that function. If you want to give 10,000 milliseconds, it will be 10 seconds. If you give 1000 milliseconds, it will be 1 second. Clear? Then you can stop the execution by calling clear timeout. Nothing but once you don't want this set timeout to be executed again. Once you have executed, done. In the coming slide, if you refresh the page or do some stuff, you don't want to be executed at once again. So in that case, we are storing that in the variable called my timeout. You are storing the entire logic in the variable name called as my timeout. That my timeout is nothing but ID. Okay, that ID is passed to clear timeout. For now, just remember it as a variable. My timeout is a variable in which set timeout function logic is written. If you want to stop the execution of it, if you want to stop the execution of set timeout, then simply write clear timeout and pass the parameter of this. Nothing but variable. Clear everyone? Yes. The syntax. Set timeout takes function. As we have written previously, function is open close console.log I am sync. I am sync is nothing but normal console printing in console.log, but it is an anonymous function. As we have discussed in the concept of functions in module 5, I guess. I hope it is clear for you. Then next milliseconds, the amount of delay, 1 second, 5 seconds, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 10 seconds, whichever amount of delay you want to give, you can give based on milliseconds. Clear? Parameter 1, parameter 2, parameter 3, whatever certain parameters you want to add, you can add, but those are optional, but these two are mandatory. Okay, return type value. Return type nothing but what it is written in. It first one number, the ID of the timer, use this ID with clear timer ID to cancel the timer. Next parameter function. Function is the function required to execute. It can be an anonymous function, arrow function, or normal function based on the logic which you give. Clear? Milliseconds optional. Number of milliseconds to wait before executing. Default value is 0. By default it is 0. If you want to execute the code after 1 second, it will do as follows, as we have seen. Okay. This parameter 1, 2, 3 are optional. Parameters are to pass the function, etc. and so on. Okay. Let's do this small code. Display an alert box after 3 seconds. What is this alert box? We have not discussed in this because one of the printing concept, alert nothing but it will give a pop-up on the screen. When you click some button or when some certain action is performed, then that alert box will be printed. Let's do one thing. As you can see here, first of all understand the syntax. Set timeout alert func. Alert func is nothing but a function. This is nothing but milliseconds. 3000 is nothing but 3 seconds. After 3 seconds, this alert function is called. This alert function logic is written somewhere here. It will alert as hello. Nothing but let's do one thing. Let's console.log and see hello. Instead of alert, we'll see console.log hello. Yes, everyone. Shall we do this? Okay, I'll write down the code and show you the output. Give me a minute. I'll type the code and show you. Everyone, we have written a simple asynchronous JS code of set timeout. We have written one function alert func which alerts as hello. Alert as equal to some box like this. Okay, we have not discussed the concept. But while building project, if you want to take input from user from the computer environment that pop up, or if you want to show some alert SMS that your login credentials are wrong or invalid, in those cases we can use this alert. I'll show you how things work. As of now, just process that this alert function is nothing but function name, our function declaration, and this 3000 nothing but 3000 is 3 seconds of delay to print hello in the form of alert. If you run this code and see the output, 1, 2, 3. As you can see here, hello is being printed. Then this website name says hello. What if you write hello, how are you? Let's copy this. Let's copy this code. Let's clear this up. Let's print it as hello, how are you? Now, in the same way, after 3 seconds of delay, that will come as hello, how are you? Instead of 3 seconds now, let's make it to 2 seconds now. Let's make it to 2 seconds. One more important point to notice is it executes only once. It executes only once. 1, 2. See, hello, how are you? Instead of this, what if you want to do simple console.log instead of this entire thing? What if you want to do console.log instead of this alert? Instead of getting at the top, if you want to do just print in the console panel, you can do that as well. Console.log, hello, how are you? 2 seconds of delay. 1, 2. As you can see, it has printed hello, how are you? It is printed only once. So set timeout. Set timeout takes two inputs. Most importantly, two inputs. One is function and the second one is delay. Delay of 2 seconds. What if you want to print it multiple times? What if you want to print it multiple times? Exact same logic. We'll write set time interval. I'll do one thing. I'll copy this. I'll copy this. I'll remove this. Okay. I'll write the same code and make it set interval. What does the set interval do? Yes, everyone will discuss this. First of all, let's see the output and discuss the concept. It will be easy for you to remember. Yes, everyone, we have just copied the exact same code. Instead of set timeout, we have made it set interval. Exact same thing, exact same logic. But let's see what is the difference between the set timeout and set interval. I'll run this code. One, two. Hello, how are you? Hello, how are you? 1, 2. After 2 seconds, hello, how are you? After 2 seconds, again, hello, how are you? As you can see, this number increasing is nothing but it is getting printed that many times after each 2 seconds. But you will be wondering how to stop this, how to stop this execution. If you clear this panel as well, even then it is continuously printing. Even then it is continuously printing. How to stop this? We have discussed the topic of clear timeout, right? We have discussed the topic of clear timeout. In the same way, just write down clear interval, and we have stored the value of that in timeout, right? I'll show you the code. Timeout. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So see, the execution has stopped. You have cleared the interval. You have cleared the interval. Now it will not get executed again and again. What do I mean by this? If you see the code, in this timeout variable, we have saved the logic. So what does this clear interval timeout is doing? It is stopping the execution. It is stopping the execution. I hope it is clear. The difference between set timeout and set interval is that set timeout executes only once, whereas set interval executes in the form of a loop. Set timeout will call the function after the delay given in milliseconds, but set interval will continuously execute the function with the delay given here. What if you make it to 5 seconds? It is 5000. If you run this code, after every 5 seconds, it will print hello, how are you? One, 5 seconds completed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It is printed hello, how are you? I think its number is English. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Third time is English. If you want to stop this, write down clear interval. Write down clear interval, and then inside this clear interval, pass the value of this variable name. That is timeout. What if there is certain different user-defined variable name? As you can see here, multiple times after each 5 seconds of delay, it has got 38 until now. If I want to stop this, I'll just write clear interval timeout and print. Now count for 15 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. As you can see, even after 10 seconds, there is no increase in this number. There is no 40, 41, 42, 43 because clear timeout has stopped the execution. Clear interval has stopped the execution of it. I hope timeout and set timeout and set interval is clear. Let's jump on to the next topic. Let's go to slides, and first of all, let's understand set interval and syntax again. We'll quickly walk through the slides and discuss about this. Clear? Yes, as we can see, the set interval method calls a function at specified interval in milliseconds. For example, there is in set interval there are two parameters, function and milliseconds. After each millisecond, the function is called again and again and again and again in the form of a loop. So set interval method calls a function at specific intervals. Set interval method continues calling the function until clear interval is called or the window is closed. Until unless you close the window, open the console panel again, the execution will get stopped. Otherwise you have to use clear interval as we have used in the previous case of the execution. 1 second is equal to 10,000 milliseconds as we have discussed again and again continuously. Okay. Next one. So this is the syntax of writing set interval. Please take a screenshot of it or note down as quickly as possible. To execute the function only once, we use set timeout. To execute the function in the form of loop, we use set interval. The code is exactly the same, the syntax is exactly the same. To stop the execution, we use clear timeout there to stop the execution. We use clear interval here. That's the only difference between set timeout and set interval. If you want to execute once, set timeout. If you want to execute multiple times, set interval. I hope it is clear. Next, set interval. The same set interval, similarly of set timeout, there are certain parameters which can be passed to it. Function, there is nothing but function name, arrow function, anonymous function, or any kind of function declaration. Milliseconds, the amount of delay it has to take. Parameter 1, parameter 2 are nothing but optional parameters. If you want to pass certain values, you can pass it as well in set interval. Okay, function is required, the function is execute. If function is to be executed, all the logic is written inside the function. Next one is milliseconds. In milliseconds, how much amount of delay is required is written. The execution interval, if the value is less than 10, 10 is used. If you write 5 milliseconds, 8 milliseconds, no, it will minimum take 10 milliseconds. 10 milliseconds is again 0.10 seconds. How much, or 0.01 seconds, how much quick it will be, right? For your compiler or interpreter to understand, it by default takes 10 if you give the values less than 10. And parameter 1, parameter 2, all of these are optional. If you want to pass any values to the function, you can pass it as well. That is actually parameter 1, parameter 2. Okay, this is one of the example. Why I'm not discussing this example now is because it has the concept of DOM manipulation, document object model manipulation. What is this? This get element by id, inner HTML manipulation to locate time string. All of these are the concepts of module 8. When we come to module 8, we'll discuss about this. What is this dot inner HTML? What is this demo class or IDs? What is this get element by id, get element by class, query selector all? All of those are the concept of DOM manipulation that we'll discuss in the next session. I guess most probably tomorrow. Okay, in that case, I'll discuss about this project. No issues. It is one of the part of our project if we see of time and temp. Okay. Coming to next slide. A very new and important concept: promise. A promise can contain both producing code and calls to the consuming code. When the producing code obtains the result, it should call one of the two callbacks: success or error. Confused? Okay. Let's simplify things for you. Okay. Raju and Ramesh are two good friends. Raju and Ramesh are two good friends. It was the birthday of Raju. Raju's birthday was on Feb 14th. Raju's birthday was on Feb 14th. Okay. Raju has promised Ramesh that he will give him, or he'll throw him a party. He'll give him a party on February 14th on his birthday. But on the February 14th, there are two possible cases. One is success. He gives the party. He gives party, or else he drops the plan. Nothing but he has given one promise to Ramesh. Raju has promised Ramesh that Raju has promised Ramesh that, hey Ramesh, I'll give you party on 14th Feb on my birthday. If he really gives the party, then it is a success. He has kept his promise. But what if he did not get the pocket money at that time, or he had spent his amount on his girlfriend or so? He doesn't have any money left now. So in those cases, what he'll do, sorry Ramesh, I don't have any money now, I'll delay the party. I'll give you a party, but as of now, I cannot give as I don't have money. He'll tell Ramesh that I don't have money as of now, I'll delay the party. But he has promised the party to be on February 14th, right? So this is a failure, right? So Raju has dropped the plan, that is failed. So in success, in promises, there are two concepts. One is success or fail. If the promise is kept, if it is delivered, then it is a success. If the promise is broken, then it is fail. Okay, clear? But another third condition is pending. Raju is telling Ramesh that sorry Ramesh, I don't have money now. But I will definitely give you party. Let's wait for few more days. That is nothing but waiting. Waiting is nothing but pending. Now Ramesh will tell that, Ramesh, hey Raju, your party is pending. Raju, your party is pending. Otherwise, he completely ignores. I will not give party to you. I don't have money. Go whatever you want to do, you do. In those cases, here he has rejected. He has rejected. That is failed. I hope it is clear. The promise has three states. One is success, fail, and pending. If the promise is kept, then it is a success. If the promise is done and you are not delivering on that promise, then it is a fail. If you want, you can add it on pending state as well. There are three states of promises. I hope it is clear. A simple example we have taken to understand what is promises. In the same way in JavaScript, for example, you have built one application and you want one photo to be loaded from the server. You want the photo to be loaded from the server. Let's say you are building some Facebook website. You are building some Facebook website. All the photos of the users is stored in a database in US. You are writing the code. In the code, there will be one line of code which is requesting the photo from database. There are two possibilities. If this database has the photo, it will provide the photo and you will get the photo. Success. Clear? But there is another possibility is that there is no photo available of what you want. There is no photo available of what you want, or there is no data available of what you want in that US database. So in that case, even if you write this code, it has to be handled somehow. If the photo is present, okay, load the photo in your website. But what if the photo is not present? In those cases, you have to handle that case, right? To handle that case, we use promises and we'll handle that in the form of fail. If the photo is not loaded, if the database does not have photo, do something else. Instead of adding photo, add some content saying, sorry, we don't have photo at that point. So this is better way of doing or building applications. I hope it is clear. Pending. Pending nothing but when this line of code has requested the photo from the database, it can take some delay of seconds or milliseconds to get the photo from the result. In those cases, can you stop the execution of other lines? Can you stop the execution of other lines? No, that will not handle your servers properly. It will be an inefficient way of handling your servers. For example, there is of 1,000 lines of code or millions of lines of code written in Facebook, but only there is some part of code which requires the photo or which requires the data coming from another website. So will this code written after the line of code of getting the data will wait for this to get the photo and then it will show the output and then print the next lines? No, that won't happen. That won't happen. For example, let's understand this in simple example. In simple way, there is thousands of lines of code written. There is some thousands of lines of code written, and in some hundred of line, there is some asynchronous code written. There is some promise written. Let's promise. Forget about promise. There is some asynchronous JS code written, which requires the data from other website, which requires the data from another website. For example, this website has crashed due to some reason. This website has crashed due to some reason. So you cannot send or receive the data from that point of website. So these lines of code until this point has got executed, no issues. When this part of asynchronous JavaScript came, when this part of asynchronous JavaScript came, it had requested some data from another website. But because the data was not present at that website, there was no return. There was no return from the data, but it has expected something to return. So if you do not use this promises concept or async await concept, in those cases, your execution will get stopped here itself. And the lines of code written after this will not get executed. Is it a better way of writing a solution? Is this the better way of making a web application or mobile application or something? No, right? Even when there is some issue with this type of code, even if there is some delay to get the data, even if there is some pending state, in those situations as well, the code which is outside those blocks must get executed as usual. So to make this process smooth and however it goes, we have to use the concept of what? Promises. I hope it is clear. Promises has three states. Pending state, that is it, pending state nothing but it has requested the data. It has requested the data, but it did not receive the data yet. So it is pending state. Second one is it has requested the data and the data we have received successfully. That is nothing but success state. And the third condition is we have requested the data and the website told that sorry, we don't have data present or the servers are down. In those cases, it is fail. I hope it is clear what is success, what is fail, and what is pending. These are three conditions of promises. Let's see the slides and understand some basic concepts again. Yes, a promise contains both producing and as of now, just understand the success and error. Success nothing but resolve. Your issue, your promise is resolved. Resolve nothing but success. Reject nothing but fail. Clear? Do not worry about this code. We'll discuss a simple one instead of this. See, a JavaScript promise object can be pending. The state is pending or fulfilled. Success. Rejected. Nothing but fail. The promise object supports two properties, state and result. State nothing but at what point, at which stage you are. Are you at pending stage? Are you at fulfilled stage? Or are you at rejected state? Based on these three conditions, all of the properties depends. Okay. While a promise object is pending, nothing but the result is undefined. We do not know if it will be successful or not. If it is pending, the result is undefined. Second one, when a promise object is fulfilled, you have requested some data, you have received the data back. It is fulfilled, success. So the return is some value. The return is a value. Third one, when promise object is rejected, you have requested the data from server. Due to some reason, the server told that I don't have value, I don't have that photo, or I don't have that data. In those cases, there will be some error. I hope it is clear. In this way, you write the syntax. Okay. Promises dot then. What is this then and catch? We'll discuss in the coming slides. No issues. Then nothing but if the code is resolved, nothing but if it is success. In those cases, you write the code block in the form of then dot then. Again, if it is failed, you write the code of dot catch. We'll discuss this. No issues. Okay. Before going to async await, let's discuss about this dot then and dot catch. For example, see in here we are creating new promise. How to create a new promise, everyone? How to create a new promise? Simply write variable name. Give any variable name. You can give variable name as promise itself or result itself or whatever you want. You can give. Okay. Promise equal to new. New is nothing but allocate some memory in the server. Okay. New. In this, write down promise. Inside that promise, there is some arrow function which has two parameters. One is resolve and one is reject. One is resolve and another will reject. We'll create one arrow function and entire logic is written in here. What to do if it is true and what to do if it is false. All the logic is written in here. We'll close the curly braces of all of these and this one as well. I'm not discussing about the concept in here. Whatever code you want to write of the logic code or logic is written in here. Okay. It is taking two parameters, resolve and reject. Resolve nothing but success. Resolve is nothing but success. Reject is nothing but fail. How to handle these two, we'll see. We have all of these logic stored in the variable name called as promise. So as I have told you, two states are success and failure. To handle these two, to apply some logic or some operations on these two, there are mainly two things used. One is dot then, one is dot catch. As you can see in the slides as well, dot then is for success, is for resolve. Dot catch is for error. What to do when it is successful? Nothing but if it is successful, show the photo. If it is failed, so show some text saying that sorry, we don't have that available. Okay. This is nothing but handling based on the conditions. How to access those? Promise dot then is nothing but successful. If it is successful, what to do? We'll create one function, one anonymous function which will print console.log. Here is your photo, here is your pic. We can say here is your pic. Dot then is used when it is success. Dot then is used when it is success. I hope it is clear, everyone. And next, dot catch. Similarly, promise dot catch. What if the photo is not loaded? What if the photo is not present in the database, or some data which you are requesting here, the data which you are requesting here is not present in the database? What to do in that cases? It is handled by this dot catch. It will again take some function parameter, anonymous function, let's say, or you can use arrow functions as well. We'll tell console.log, sorry, there was some error. Sorry, there was error. As simple as that. So what is happening here is we are creating one promise which is doing certain operations, which is requesting the data from database. We'll discuss about this code when we discuss about fetch and all. As of now, keep it aside, or when we discuss about async await. Clear? Just focus on this. Whenever the data is successfully received, or the operation is successfully performed, it is handled by dot then. If it is failed, it is handled by dot catch. In our case of requesting the photo from the database, we have just printed that console.log, there is your photo, there is your picture. Yes, this is your picture, whatever it is. Okay, when it is successful. What if the photo is not received? In that case, we'll print this is an error, or there was an error. So in this way, we have handled success as well as failure. So our block of code, if you have multiple lines as well, it will not get stopped even if the promise is not fulfilled. Even if the promise is not fulfilled, or if it is in pending condition as well, the other parts of code will get executed, because we have handled that using promises. Clear? I know it is a bit confusing, but with more practice, you'll get clear understanding and more grip about these concepts. No issues about this. Let's let's next discuss about async and await. Yes, everyone, it's already around 50 minutes of session almost. Let's just quickly wrap these things up. Async await. Async await is nothing but async and await make promises right in an easier way. What do I mean by this? Async await are nothing but keywords. It provides you with the structure of making your promises right easily. Okay, I know it is confusing. I'll not get into practical, just understand this theoretical concept. Because when you do projects, most probably in complex projects only we use this. In normal projects, we most probably avoid using this, or we don't use it that frequently. We do not avoid using this, we don't use it that frequently. Okay, but most important thing is understand the concept, understand how it is working. I hope you have got understood about set time intervals, set timeout, and what is this promises. Now we'll discuss about async await and fetch. Okay, async await makes promises easier to write. Okay, async await makes promises easier to write. Clear? Async makes function return a promise. Nothing but if you write a promise inside a function, it makes the function to return a promise. That is, it must be resolved or rejected. There must be some conditions. Await makes the function to wait for a promise. It pauses. Await makes the function wait for a promise. Okay. Syntax. The keyword async before a function makes the function return a promise. That's what. It is nothing but async is nothing but async keyword. Nothing but reserved word which has certain properties. Similarly, await has certain properties. Okay. Next slide. We'll understand this briefly. If you remove this async, for example, remove this async. What is this normal function? To make the normal function in the form of promise or asynchronous function, we'll just write this async. What is the difference between this? If you remove this async, forget about this async function, my function return hello. It's nothing but it is returning hello. It is just printing hello. But what if you write async here? If you write async here, if you see this slide, async makes a function return a promise, return success or reject. Something has to be written. There is no pausing or pending state. Async makes a function return a promise. So if you write async keyword here, it will be similar to writing this form of code. This form of code is nothing but function, my function, normal function declaration. Inside this return, it is returning promise dot resolve. Instead of writing this promise dot resolve, we can just write async keyword. I hope it is clear. Async keyword makes a function return a promise. Resolve nothing but success, as we have understood. Resolve nothing but success, fulfillment by using dot then. Clear? Then what is await? The await keywords can also be used inside an async function. Inside an async function, the await keyword can be also used. So that is called as async await. Okay. The await keyword makes the function pause the execution to pause the execution for some time. Okay. You have requested some data from the Facebook server. I don't know if it takes 1 day to come, or if it takes certain milliseconds to come, or will it come or not, I don't know. I have to handle the below code line as well. So what I'll do, the line of code which is requesting some data, if there is some pending state, I'll ask, okay, pause this part of line until and unless you get some data, keep it aside. Keep it at waiting state or pause state. How to keep this? Using await. The await keyword makes the function pause the execution and wait for a resolved promise before it continues. Until and unless some resolved promise comes, pause it. Clear? How to do this? Value await promise. You have created certain promise. You have created certain promise as we have done previously as well. Now we'll just say that promise to wait. Nothing but writing await keyword and storing in the form of variable value. I hope it is clear. Yes, everyone. See the basic syntax. The team which we had, the team which prepared this slides, I guess they are in the feel of Valentine's Day, so they have written certain things in this code which should not be written. Okay. Okay. Let's get back to the topic. Async function might display. Async function is nothing but it is expecting the promise to return something. Inside this async we have created one promise named my promise equal to new promise. We are creating promise as we have discussed the previous 10 minutes of the discussion. How to create a promise. Inside that there is some function which take two values. In the previous example we have discussed arrow function. In the module 5 of functions, if you see that video, the logic of using functions is same. Even if you use anonymous function, even if you use normal function declaration, or even if you use this, what would you say, arrow functions, anonymous arrow or normal function declaration, the execution part is same, but only the way of writing is different. Few people are comfortable with arrow functions, few people are comfortable with function declaration, a few people are comfortable with anonymous functions. So based upon their requirements and how they are comfortable with, they can use any of them. Previously we have used arrow function, now we are using normal anonymous function. Okay. Function declaration, resolve and reject. Resolve nothing but what to do when it is success, reject nothing but what to do when it is rejected. If it is resolved, print I love you. I have not written this. Sorry, I have not written this. It is our team which has prepared the slides. I don't know what they have gone through and they have written something over here. Great, no issues. We'll come back here. Document got dot get element by ID. So what is it that get element by ID? What is this document? What is inner HTML? And why is this asking to await my promise? We'll discuss about this await my promise, but this part is nothing but DOM manipulation. We'll discuss in module 8. If you want, make a note of it. We'll get in-depth discussion about this in module 8. Module 8 of DOM manipulation. What is get element by ID? What is query selector? What is this element selector or class selector or ID selector? Here we'll use dot hashtag based on the condition. Inner HTML. If you want to change the style, we use type. All of these concepts we'll discuss in DOM manipulation. As of now, just focus that async and await makes writing promises easier. Okay, interview question, if they ask you what is async and await makes writing promises easier. Clear? My display is nothing but calling the function. Then event handler, also the concept of DOM manipulation by mistake we have added in the module 8. I can explain you this, but it will get over your head if I explain this now. Simple example. If you want to add some logic to the button, if the button is clicked, you want the colors to pop. If the button is clicked, you want some color, you want the images to move aside. If the button is clicked, you want to perform some mathematical operation, building calculators. All of those is nothing but adding events on the buttons. Add event listener is the concept which is used to add the control. If you read this as well, the add event listener method attaches an event handler to specific element nothing but HTML element. HTML, I request you, before we get into projects, please look at least the basics of HTML and CSS. What is element, what is tag, what is attribute, what are paragraph tags, what are buttons, and how to add CSS styling. At least some basic concepts if you have referred, If you see just 1 hour video online on YouTube, it's more than enough for HTML and 2 hours for CSS. I suggest you to look at it, because if you directly do projects, we'll explain the code, we'll explain each line of code. But if you do not know HTML and CSS, we cannot go into in-depth discussion and discuss about this. That's why I suggest you, please watch at least 1 hour of video about HTML or CSS, a quick recap or basic common things which we use frequently. Okay. The add event listener method attaches an event handler to an element without overriding existing event handlers. Without overriding existing event handlers, if you want to perform some certain operation on that button, on that element, you can do using add event handler. Okay, the add event listener. I'm sorry. The add event listener method makes it easier to control how the event reacts to bubbling. You can easily remove an event by using remove event listener. About this add event listener and remove event listener, will do practicals in DOM manipulation and doing projects. Very important concept. Okay. Next slide. Syntax. Syntax of event handler. Again, see, if you can see here, click. If you click on something, certain operations to perform. If you hover on something, certain operations should perform. If you zoom in on something, certain operations should perform. Based on this, we add events to that element. We'll discuss about this. We'll do practical as well. No issues. As of now, just understand. If you click on this, it will create an alert called hello world. Alert nothing but getting the box on the top, as we have seen previously. Clear? Do not worry. We are not going too fast. This event handler we'll discuss again. We'll come back to this event handler again. Now for this session, let's discuss about fetch API and all, and we'll stop the discussion and we'll discuss DOM manipulation tomorrow. Now we'll discuss fetch API quickly. So what is this fetch actually about? Fetch. The fetch API interface allows a web browser to make HTTP requests. As of now, we'll discuss about this global fetch method, very important global fetch method, to fetch the data from online using JSON files to console, to stringify them, to serialize or deserialize them, or print on console.log. We'll discuss about this as of now. But what is fetch? The fetch API interface allows web browser to make HTTP requests to the web servers. The fetch API provides JavaScript interfaces for accessing and manipulating parts of the protocol such as requests and responses. It also provides a global fetch method that provides an easy logical way to fetch resources asynchronously across the network. Do not worry, I'll explain you one by one. No issues. A fetch API example. The file below fetches a file and displays the content. File is nothing but you'll give the location. Write down the syntax. Fetch. Inside this, you'll give the location. Dot then, dot then. What is this dot then? If you see the promises, if the promise is successful, if you get the data, what should you do with that data that you are writing in the dot then? This arrow is nothing but arrow function type of thing which stores the data in that variable and it is printed. I'll explain you with another example. As of now, just focus that fetch keyword. Inside the parenthesis, write the location. If you want to paste the URL, paste the URL here. If you want to add some file, add the file here. Okay. Then dot then, if it is resolved, if it is successful, do certain operations. Dot then, if it is resolved, do certain operations followed by them. Clear? This is nothing but fetch. Fetch API example. Since fetch is based on async await, fetch is again based on async await, because wherever you use promises, async await automatically comes into picture. Fetch is based on async await. The example above might be easier to understand. Like, okay, see the previous example. The previous example is written in this way. What is this? Async function get text file. Get some text file. The function name is get text. Okay. From it, two variables x and y are created and await is used to fetch the file until you get some response. In pending state, it is awaited, it is paused. Okay. Once you get the data, you store it in y. This x dot text, whichever the file data is come, it is stored in y, and then my display y. That my display function which we have created previously will print the value of y. That is nothing but print. Okay. Okay. Do not worry. I know this example is a bit complicated. Let me simplify things for you. Do you know what is JSON? JSON is nothing but JavaScript object notation, right? JavaScript object notation. Done. What is this JSON object? Nothing but key value pair. In the same way, if we want to send the data from one website to one server or receive the data from server to website, using HTTP protocol or any protocol, we use JSON files because JSON files store the data in the form of key value pair and it can be transferred from one place to another place by encryption and then decrypted here back again. I hope it is clear. I hope this example is clear. Now if this JSON is clear, to send and receive data over internet using protocols like HTTPS or HTTP or any other protocol or modify the data using JSON. Now let's understand the example of fetch using the same. Let's understand the example of fetch using the same. I'll write down the code and explain you one by one. Let me pause the video to save the time for you. Yes, everyone, as you can see here, I have simplified things for you. There is one computer requesting the data from another website of URL this, that is www.google.com or some from some URL. It is fetching some data. It is requesting some data. It is fetching some data. Okay, this fetching data, if it is successful, if you got some data, if you have received back some data from the website, that is if you have received the response, first of all that response is converted in the form of JSON file, response.json. After that, whatever the data is received from that response, whatever the data is received from that response is printed on console.log. Nothing but in your website, it is printed as it is. First of all, what is happening? It is requesting your server. This is your server. Okay. This is, let's say, user. This is nothing but server. Okay. This user is fetching the data from server. This user is fetching the data from server using the URL. Using the URL. When it is successful, when some response is received, from server to user, dot then is nothing but resolve. Resolve is nothing but success, right? When some response is successfully received, that response is first converted into JSON. And from JSON, the data is collected. Once the data is collected, it is directly printed. That is console.log. Clear? But what if the response does not come? What is the response does not come, or if some error comes? Then to handle errors in promises, we are using dot catch. Go back 10 to 15 minutes previous discussion. Go back to 10 to 15 minutes previous discussion when we are discussing about promises. For success, it is dot then. That's nothing but resolve. For resolve, it is dot then. For reject or fail, it is dot catch. In the same way, when some response is not received, when it is failed, in those cases we use dot catch, and we are handling the error and printing console dot error. It prints in red color. What error is printed using this. I hope fetch is clear. Using promises and fetch together is clear. So to recap everything, let me just write down here. We have discussed about async and sync first. What is async and sync? JavaScript is usually sync, but to use asynchronous JavaScript, we use certain properties. What are those? Set timeout, set interval. Next, what is this? Please respond to the. Please refer to the notes once. Set timeout, set interval, and what else? Promises, async await, and then fetch. There are certain things as well, but most probably we'll use this. Even among those, a few are most frequently used, a few are ignored. I hope it is clear with this. We have understood what is set timeout. For example, this example we have understood with the diagrams. What is async await? What when async is used, when await is used to pause things up. Why is fetch used to send or receive the data using JSON files, and how to store the data using that responses and converting it .json. All of these are the concepts of JSON. I know in this session, as it is a bit complicated, we have not gone much into the deep discussion of practicals. If we go into deep discussion of practicals, you won't be able to understand things. So we tried to make things simple. These are the concepts. You can search online and refer more resources regarding the same. But most probably what you have learned is more than enough for you in your interviews. Anyways, while doing projects, we'll do copy paste of the code from ChatGPT or Google in most of the cases. Yes. So that's it for today's class. We have completed almost everything in module 7. Event handlers, do not worry, we'll discuss about this tomorrow again, specifically after the completion of DOM. Okay. For tomorrow's session, that is day 9 of free JavaScript bootcamp, some intern call, we'll discuss about this DOM, document object model. What is this document object model? How to manipulate things. But before understanding this doc, I request you to please understand the basics of HTML and CSS. Or let's do one thing. We'll give 1 day of gap. We'll do 1 day of gap after this session is rolled out. After this session of what do we say asynchronous JavaScript is rolled out, we'll give 1 day of gap or 1 day of holiday for you. Let's say in this 1 day, I request you to please prepare or please understand the basics of HTML and CSS. Okay, because if you do not know what those tags are, what those elements are, or what those styling is, you cannot understand DOM manipulation and project. So that's why 1 day we'll take a leave, will not upload any session after this, and after in that 1 day your task is to understand the basics of HTML and CSS. Yes, everyone. That's it for today's session. Hope to see you day after tomorrow. 1 day gap for you to learn HTML and CSS basics. And again we'll revise, we'll brush up everything, and then let's get started with DOM after day after tomorrow. Yes, everyone. Great. All the best. Happy learning. Have a nice day.